Hey cats! Alright, it's kind of hot out here, so I'm going to be doing this the whole time. If you're not interested in music, this is not the post for you, so don't worry about it. But if you are interested in music, and if you do love music, I'm just so pissed off at the zeitgeist. It's so lugubrious these days. I mean, it's just wasted on what I call the Cheeto-stained generation, Cheeto-stained fingered generation. It's gelatinous. They play video games instead of read books, and the award show's coming on tonight, and this is something that bothers me. You have so many established, wonderful musicians who have to go up and share the stage with little twats like Demi Lovato. I mean, can you imagine Sting or Don Henley trying to have a meaningful conversation with her? Oy. And by the way, if you're a fan of hers, I don't want to hear any comments or messages from y'all. If I want to hear any shit out of you, to squeeze the top of your head, right? Because y'all are part of the problem. People used to feel things instead of just worrying if their boob job looked real. Fergie, you look like a stupid duck. Everything has to do with people trying to look good. When more attention is being placed on the way that you look instead of the self, then intellect suffers. And that's not me talking, that's the Buddha. I want to know where our Pink Floyd poets have gone. I want to know, I mean, I know where they've gone. Everyone, like Chris Rock said in Rolling Stone, the reason music is shit these days is because everyone's a mogul. Everyone comes out with their fragrance line. I mean, how audacious. You think I want to smell like you? Please. They're cutting an album and fabric swatches for their feed bag line and their asshole bleaching line. Ew, that was horrible, but it needs to be said. I've just had enough of it. I don't want to wear your stupid clothes. You could not pay me to buy a shoe or anything from a celebrity because it's just, I'm just not that chick. You need a can opener to open up CDs these days. I will say that. Nobody plays an instrument. And nobody writes their own lyrics, except maybe Lady Gaga, Ingrid Michaelson, Al City. I love Adam Young, and I know he's so, speaking of young, he is way too young for me, but I fell so madly in love with that little boy. I just expected Chris Hansen to come popping out of the couch and offer me some sweet tea. But how can you crank out good music if you don't know what you're doing? I mean, you can't rely on somebody else to write your hits all the time. Sometimes that's okay. But I think people try harder when they struggle. Before they get famous, they have to hit all the high notes because their rent depends on it. Everything depends on it. I want times to go back when your DJ was like a trusted guide, when he could tell you things you didn't know all day long. Remember that guy who drove the Firebird, lived in his mama's basement, and had a fatty all rolled up in his jeans, and he'd put on Led Zeppelin and go out in the back and hit it, the extended version. That guy with a little chemo-thin mullet and a little matching mustache, Journey shirts, James Bongs, that guy. I want to know where that guy went, because you can't really tell me anything I don't know. Radio personalities, I mean, who gives a shit? I don't care. But I want times to go back to the way that it used to be. Like Bruce Hughes is a friend of mine, and he's a friend of mine now. I reached out to him when he wrote Shorty. Shorty is one of the best albums you'll ever hear, and it never got any airplay because they play the same damn 10 songs on the radio. Why don't you branch out and play things by independent artists? Bruce Hughes played bass for Jason Mraz, but with all due respect, I think that Jason Mraz would have been lucky to play in Bruce Hughes' band. I think about all these true musicians, people who have been struggling legitimately trying to make it, and how disenfranchised must they be when they hear the same 10 songs on the radio? You know what that's going to do? That's going to make me not buy the album because you already made me nauseated listening to the song so many times. Everybody wins. You get to hear independent music from many different people, and then the popular artists get more albums sold because we haven't heard their song to the point where we're just sick. Just absolutely fucking sick. I remember Axl Rose, and this is weird, I remember something so anecdotal, but even Axl Rose said that he got mad when they cut off the DJ cut off the Eric Clapton part in Layla. To me, Layla was like Kandinsky. You get this chaos at the beginning, and then it's all peaceful on the other side. He painted on both sides of the canvas for all you math majors. And the audacity of the DJ cutting off the most beautiful part of the song just pissed Axl Rose off. And that, it's just seemingly a prosaic thing, but even a bad boy, that just told me that even a bad boy really had love for music and pure music, and still had reverence for the masters, right? I don't know, people get famous and then they get lazy and then their craft suffers, and because they get way too much money for what they do. all those fierce little songbirds who had their little delicate selves messed with, and they wrote angst poetry like little Christina Perry, and I can tell little Tori Amos goth girls who just turned their bitter blood at the end of their pen into more of like a swishable Merlot. They took something horrible, they practiced their art, and it butterflied into this talent that was beautiful and perfected. I bet Lady Gaga did that because, again, I was such a nerd in school. I didn't get, like, traumatized, but I did get made fun of. You know, I got my share of getting made fun of. I didn't know what to do with my hair. Flat irons hadn't come out. I read all the time. And I don't know. People like Boston, man, when Brad Delp sang More Than a Feeling, and then he trumps his own chord, just when you think he can't sing any higher of a note, he trumps his own chord and goes up higher. I just want to stand up and cheer. Even now, just party like it's 1979 every time I hear him. And all those guys in Boston, girl, I mean, if you're going through your radio stations, and you can always tell a Boston song, you're like, and you go back and get it. And that's because Tom Shaw's, those musicians, he actually went to MIT. And he created the Rockman, which is what gave them that wonderful sound. I mean, I have a lot of respect for people who deserve it. Like my heroes, my first book was called My Heroes Have Always Been Dead. And I'm not going to get excited over seeing Britney Spears. The person I'd get excited about is Nikola Tesla. I read his biography, his polyphase hydroelectric generator rocked my world. And John Mayer, I know he's not everyone's favorite person, but to me he is just Moliere off the clock, and then Naruto when he punches back in. He is so intelligent and so funny, and his lyrics are just so good. Why Georgia? There was something where his mom threw out his lunchbox. His last album, not the one where he's wearing the blanket and singing I'm a good man with a good heart. I'm like, are you trying to convince me or are you trying to convince you? Because I think that's college fucked up real bad, and I'm so trying to take it back. But he might have messed up so bad that he really was Zen. I don't know. But I love his voice, and I bet he's a cool guy when he's not too busy being a dick. Right? So just think about these things, and I don't know, to all you little starving artists out there who have something to say, keep at it. Keep at it. Because you have something special, and yes, there is a place for you. And as far as being a fan of anything, I never say I'm a fan because I don't give anybody more power than I give myself. Fan is short for what? Fanatic. I'm not fanatical about a damn thing. If anything, I'm your fucking benefactor. If you're a musician, I'm not your fan. I'm your freaking benefactor like Oscar Wilde's friends were. All right. I think I'm through rambling. Before I let y'all... Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Again, with the music videos. Let's go back to that real quick. Rihanna, why am I seeing your birth canal? Why are you gyrating? I mean, who wants to see, like, everything is a simulation of sex. Do you realize that there are little kids who are 10 out there listening to your music? How are you going to explain your lyrics? And how the hell do you even go home for Thanksgiving? If I wrote stuff like that, it was like, my mom and dad would say, you better get out of here. You're not going home for Thanksgiving. You better go get yourself a new last name because you don't represent us. Not to mention, my grandmother would have come flying back out of the grave, put me in a headlock, and just snatched me bald-headed. She really would. All right, now I'm done. Oh, no, one more thing. I've always wanted to tell the masses how to open up a CD without running off the road. You have that little plastic thing on top. This is what you do. You open this little bitch on the bottom, if I can do it. Hold on, let me get it. I have 2 CDs in here. Open it on the bottom, and then you just rip it off the top. And you just take a little piece of tape, and you just stick it back. Okay. Well, if you agree with what I've said, leave me a comment and let me know. And we're going to try to promote different kinds of music. I don't know who we are, but we should at least try. All right, love y'all.